most of you in Victoria, I guess all over Australia, really knows property at the moment is going crazy and auctions are going well above reserve. So what little tricks, what little things can you guys go out there and implement yourself to then go and be successful at auction? So tune in, this one's gonna be a good one. So tip number one, I think, which is really basic one, is show up on time. Pretty simple. However, you want to make sure that you get to the open inspection. You almost want to be the first one at the open inspection and spend that 30 minutes or 15 minutes or 45 minutes, however long that real estate agent has allocated to the open prior to the sale, prior to the auction. You want to make sure that you're in there and you're just listening. You're just listening. You want to make sure, or you want to kind of identify who the serious bidders may be, and the ones that I guess, you know, you might be hearing saying, I've only got a 5% deposit, or, you know, you pick up that it's their first time in there and they're probably not going to go make a bid. You want to really make sure that you're in there, you're looking around and you're sussing out your competition. At the end of the day, an auction is a open negotiation. So you need to do these things, and yeah, you really need to look into who's serious and who maybe is not as serious. Tip number two, which I believe is absolutely the most important one, is you must have a strategy, okay? You must have a strategy going into the auction. Now, obviously, going in and reading the room, your strategy may tweak or be tweaked a little bit. However, you must have a strategy, and everyone who is accompanying you to the auction, whether it be your spouse, you know, a friend, you know, a seasoned investor, a buyer's agent, they know the strategy and everyone is on the same page. The last thing you want is for there to be conflicting signs for everyone else, for the open negotiation and everyone else bidding against you to see. You know, I can't tell you how many times people have shot themselves, and I've seen it shot themselves in the foot because they haven't obviously discussed the strategy. They haven't discussed what they're going to do if it's getting closer to the budget, or, you know, how many times you see a husband and wife nudging each other and really showing weaknesses. You know, you're really showing your cards. You're showing your cards, and that's the one thing you can't do if you want to be successful at auction. Tip number three when bidding at auction is getting front and center, okay? So 5 minutes before the auction starts, go out with the team, with the family, whoever it is, and find your position. Now, what we like to do as at Your Property Wealth, we always like to make that position right in front of the auctioneer. So whether it's to the side of the auctioneer, right at the front, so we have our eyes on everyone, or with our back facing, and literally standing right in front of the auctioneer, right at the front, so everyone can see you. Obviously, when you turn around, you can see everyone as well. Once again, it just reiterates the fact that you are there, you are in prime position, and somewhat a scare factor to a certain degree, depending on how you carry yourself. But it just, yeah, once again, reminds everyone that you are there, you are center of attention, you are not losing this auction, and this property is yours. Even if you don't think it yourself, you've got to make everyone else believe that you are not losing this auction. So that's tip number three. Tip number four is quite of a weird one, and you know what, it does work. Finding out the auctioneer's name and calling the auctioneer and making a bid using the auctioneer's name. Now, you might think a bit strange, and it is strange. I guess you find out these things as you continue to go to auction, and, you know, find out little tricks that may and may not work. This one does work. Head out to auction, find out the auctioneer's name, and every time you make a bid, say 440,000 Brian, or whatever it is, it just puts a bit more fear, or I guess a bit more of, oh, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He's calling the auctioneer by his name. That, along with standing right in front and center, you know, and being very confident, calling the auctioneer by his name, it's just going to put more doubt in other people's mind, and they're going to think, okay, this guy is the real deal. This guy's winning this auction. Call them by their name. Tip number five, which I guess not a really lot of people will really implement this, which I find bizarre, is using your eyes and looking at the competition. So, I mean, you've made your bid, you've called the auctioneer by his first name, you're standing front and center. It's then up to the competition to counterbid you. you need to be looking, you need to be watching, you need to look at every little thing. So, are they nudging their partner? Are they whispering? Are they, second guessing themselves? What are they doing? You need to look for some weaknesses. You also need to look for what you believe they're going to do. Obviously, poker faces are very real, and sometimes it's hard, but the more you go out, the more you do it, the more you can kind of see, okay, this person's going to bid now, or that person's looking like he's almost reached his cap. But use it. You're in an open negotiation. So, everyone's there out in the open. You can see your competition. Why wouldn't we use that? So, yeah, that's tip number 5. Tip number 6, which some of you might think that it is just absolutely crazy, and I'm not going to do that. We implemented ourselves as buyer's agents. So myself and my business partner, also the director of Your Property Wealth, we, on behalf of clients and for ourselves, we will rock up to auctions in suits, okay? Now, once again, it's just putting that fear, it's just making people doubt themselves and think, these guys aren't losing, okay? So I'll set the picture for you. It's myself, my business partner will have a book open and writing on it, my bids and what our maximum bids are. It can have nothing on it. It doesn't need to have anything on it, but we look the part, and that is the most important thing. We're really putting the fear, and we're making sure that everyone else knows that we're there to buy the property and no one's going to beat it. So that's a really bizarre one, but trust me, it does work. So there you have it. I would call it the top 6 cheeky little tips, which are really kind of, quite bizarre if you really think about it. But just over time, these are things that we've obviously noticed that works for ourselves, for our clients. And they're just different. You need to be different in this market. Look at what properties are selling for. Now I know at auction a lot of the times it's whoever has the most money, but these tips, these things, if you implement it, go out and implement it. You watch it work. Go out this weekend, go implement it yourself and see what happens. And if you're going to jump into a suit, more the merrier. Good on you. I admire the confidence.